Some countries don't just make life better, they rethink how everyday life should work. That's exactly what Japan and South Korea have done. The smartest part? It's not futuristic technology or billion-dollar projects. It's the small, everyday ideas that make life cleaner, faster, easier, and surprisingly more enjoyable. Once you see them, you'll start asking yourself one question. Why isn't every country doing this? Today, we're counting down 15 brilliant ideas from Japan and South Korea that just make sense. And by the end of this video, you'll probably wish some of them existed where you live. 15. Better use of small spaces. Let's start with something that seems simple but says a lot about the way Japan and South Korea think. Space is often limited, yet somehow it never feels like a disadvantage. Instead of wishing for bigger homes, larger stores, or wider rooms, they've become incredibly good at making every inch count. Walk into a small apartment, a neighborhood cafe, or even a compact convenience store, and you'll notice the same pattern. Every shelf, every corner, and every piece of furniture has been carefully considered. Nothing feels random, and very little goes to waste. The result isn't a space that feels cramped. It's one that feels efficient, comfortable, and surprisingly open. It's a completely different way of thinking about design. Rather than adding more, the focus is on using what already exists in a smarter way. That mindset doesn't just save space, it improves everyday life. And once you see how naturally it works, it's hard not to wonder why more places around the world haven't embraced the same idea. 14. Clean and organized public areas. One of the first things people notice in Japan and South Korea isn't a landmark or a piece of technology, it's the feeling of the streets themselves. Public spaces are remarkably clean, organized, and well cared for, and that changes the entire atmosphere of a city. Parks feel inviting, train stations stay orderly, and sidewalks are places people actually enjoy walking through. What's remarkable is that this isn't just the result of maintenance. It's a reflection of a culture that values shared responsibility. People generally treat public spaces with the same respect they'd show their own homes, understanding that these places belong to everyone. That simple mindset has a powerful effect. Cleaner surroundings reduce stress, make cities feel more welcoming, and encourage others to show the same level of care. It's proof that a better environment isn't created by rules alone, but by everyday habits repeated millions of times. And when an entire society embraces that way of thinking, the difference isn't just something you see, it's something you genuinely feel every day. 13. Smart convenience stores. Convenience stores in Japan and South Korea completely redefine what the word convenience actually means. They're not just places you stop to grab a drink or a quick snack before heading home. They function as reliable parts of everyday life, offering an incredible range of products and services that people genuinely use. You can pick up a freshly prepared meal, everyday groceries, household essentials, personal care items, and often discover practical things you never expected to find in such a small space. Everything is organized in a way that makes shopping quick, simple, and surprisingly enjoyable. Instead of wandering through endless aisles, you can usually find exactly what you need within minutes. That's why these stores become more than just retailers. They become part of people's daily routine. Whether you're in a hurry, working late, or simply need one last item before heading home, they're designed to save time without sacrificing quality. It's a simple idea, executed so well that you immediately wonder why every country hasn't embraced the same approach. 12. Efficient transit systems. Public transportation is one of the clearest examples of what happens when a system is built around the people who actually use it every day. In Japan and South Korea, trains and subways aren't simply a way to get from one place to another, they're a dependable part of daily life. They're fast, reliable, and organized in a way that keeps millions of people moving with surprisingly little confusion. Even during rush hour, the experience often feels far more orderly than you might expect. Stations are designed to guide people naturally, schedules are easy to follow, and transfers are planned to minimize unnecessary delays. The entire network works together like a single, well-coordinated system, rather than a collection of separate routes. That consistency changes the way people experience a city. Instead of planning your day around traffic or uncertainty, you can simply trust that you'll get where you're going on time. And when transportation becomes that reliable, it doesn't just save time, It makes everyday life noticeably less stressful. 11. Useful vending machines. At first glance, a vending machine doesn't seem like anything worth talking about. But in Japan and South Korea, they become a perfect example of how small conveniences can make a big difference. They're not placed randomly or treated as an afterthought. Instead, they're exactly where people are likely to need them, making everyday life just a little easier. Whether you're in a quiet neighborhood, near a train station, or walking late at night, there's often a quick, reliable option within reach. More importantly, these machines go far beyond selling a few drinks or snacks. Many offer useful everyday essentials, turning a simple purchase into an easy solution when stores are closed or time is limited. It's a practical idea that removes unnecessary hassle without asking people to change their routines. That's what makes it so effective. Rather than creating something complicated, they've perfected something ordinary, transforming it into a service people genuinely depend on every single day. 10. Compact home design. By this point, one thing becomes impossible to ignore: just how intelligently homes and apartments are designed. Space isn't always abundant in Japan and South Korea, but that's exactly what makes the design so impressive. Instead of relying on bigger rooms, the focus is on making every square foot work harder. Storage is built into places you wouldn't expect. Furniture often serves more than one purpose, and layouts are carefully planned so nothing feels wasted. The result is a home that feels surprisingly open, organized, and comfortable, even when it's relatively small. It's a different way of thinking about living spaces. Rather than asking, how much space do we have? The question becomes, how can we use this space better? That shift in mindset makes an enormous difference in everyday life. You spend less time dealing with clutter and more time enjoying your surroundings. It's proof that thoughtful design isn't about making things bigger. It's about making them work better for the people who live there. 9. Creative street food packaging. Street food is something you'll find in plenty of countries, but Japan and South Korea have found a way to make the entire experience feel even more enjoyable. It's not just about how good the food tastes, it's about how thoughtfully it's prepared, packaged, and served. Whether you're picking up a quick snack from a market stall or grabbing something between train stops, everything is designed with convenience in mind. The packaging is clean, easy to hold, and practical enough to let you eat comfortably while you're on the move. You rarely find yourself struggling with messy wrappers or awkward containers. It's one of those small details that quietly improves the experience without demanding attention. That level of care says a lot about the way everyday life is approached. The goal isn't simply to serve good food, it's to make enjoying that food as effortless as possible. And when thoughtful presentation meets great flavor, even a quick bite on the street feels surprisingly satisfying and memorable. 8. Safe and walkable streets. Another thing that stands out almost immediately is how enjoyable it feels to simply walk. In many cities across Japan and South Korea, the streets aren't just designed to get you from one place to another, they're designed to make the journey itself comfortable. Sidewalks are well maintained, intersections are thoughtfully planned, and lighting makes it easier to move around, even after dark. There's a natural sense of order that removes a lot of the stress people often associate with busy urban life. You don't feel like you're competing with traffic every step of the way. Instead, the city seems to guide you effortlessly from one destination to the next. It's a subtle difference, but one you notice every single day. When walking feels safe, convenient, and enjoyable, people naturally choose it more often. That doesn't just benefit individuals, it creates neighborhoods that feel more connected, more active, and more welcoming. Sometimes the smartest cities aren't the ones with the biggest roads, but the ones that make everyday life easier on foot. 7. Public respect for shared spaces. One of the biggest differences isn't something you can build or buy, it's the way people treat the spaces they share. Walk through a park, ride a train, or spend time in a public square, and you quickly notice a quiet sense of respect. People generally clean up after themselves, avoid creating unnecessary mess, and think about how their actions affect everyone around them. That mindset changes the entire atmosphere. Public spaces stay cleaner, facilities last longer, and there's a sense that these places truly belong to everyone, not just the people responsible for maintaining them. It's a simple idea, but its impact reaches far beyond appearances. When people take pride in the places they use every day, those spaces become more welcoming, more reliable, and far more enjoyable for everyone who follows. It creates a cycle where respect encourages more respect. And in the end, that's what makes these environments feel so different. Not because they're perfect, but because millions of small, thoughtful choices add up to something remarkable. 6. Smart bathroom and toilet features. This is one of those things that sounds ordinary until you experience it for yourself. Then you start wondering how you ever lived without it. In Japan and South Korea, bathrooms aren't treated as purely functional spaces. They're designed with comfort, hygiene, and convenience in mind. From thoughtful layouts to smart features that improve cleanliness and make everyday use more comfortable, there's a level of attention that catches most visitors by surprise. Nothing feels excessive or complicated. Instead, every detail seems to exist for a practical reason, making the entire experience smoother and more pleasant. It's the kind of improvement you don't realize you've been missing until it's right in front of you. And that's what makes it so memorable. Rather than chasing flashy technology for the sake of it, these countries focus on solving small, everyday problems in meaningful ways. It's a perfect example of how thoughtful design can transform even the most routine parts of daily life into something noticeably better. 5. Efficient food service. One of the most impressive things you'll notice is how smoothly food service operates, even during the busiest hours of the day. Walk into a packed restaurant, busy cafe, or neighborhood convenience store, and there's a sense that everyone knows exactly what they're doing. Orders move quickly, customers aren't left wondering what's happening, and long lines rarely feel chaotic. It's not because people are rushing, it's because the entire experience has been carefully designed to keep things moving naturally. From the way orders are placed to how meals are prepared and handed over, every step feels organized and intentional. The result is less waiting, fewer mistakes, and a surprisingly calm atmosphere, even when the place is full. It's a reminder that efficiency isn't about working faster at all costs. It's about creating systems that work so well they almost disappear. When everything flows the way it should, people spend less time dealing with delays and more time simply enjoying their meal, and that's a difference you can feel immediately. 4. Helpful signs and directions. One of the first things you notice is how much easier it is to find your way around. It might not sound exciting at first, but clear signs and thoughtful directions can completely change the experience of moving through a city. In Japan and South Korea, wayfinding isn't treated as an afterthought. Whether you're walking through a train station, navigating a busy street, or looking for a specific building, the information is usually right where you need it. Signs are easy to read, logically placed, and designed to help instead of confuse. You spend less time stopping to figure things out and more time confidently moving forward. It sounds like a small detail, but anyone who's ever gotten lost in an unfamiliar place knows how valuable that can be. Good design isn't always about adding more. Sometimes it's about removing uncertainty. And when an entire city is built around making everyday decisions easier, even something as simple as getting from one place to another becomes noticeably less stressful and far more enjoyable. 3. Everyday design that reduces effort. This is where the real magic starts to reveal itself. It's not always the big, headline grabbing innovations that leave the strongest impression. It's the countless small details woven into everyday life. In Japan and South Korea, ordinary objects and public systems are designed with a simple question in mind: how can we make this easier for people? And that mindset changes everything. Doors open more smoothly, public transportation runs with incredible precision, packaging is easier to use, and even the smallest conveniences are thoughtfully planned. None of these ideas seem revolutionary on their own, but together they remove countless little frustrations from daily life. You spend less time figuring things out and more time getting on with your day. That's what thoughtful design really looks like. It doesn't demand your attention or show off. It quietly works in the background, making everyday routines feel smoother, faster, and almost effortless. And that's exactly why it's so easy to appreciate once you experience it. 2. High-functioning urban life. And if there's one thing that deserves the top spot, It's the way these countries have mastered city life. It's hard to appreciate until you experience it yourself. In Japan and South Korea, everything seems to connect effortlessly. The trains arrive when they're supposed to. Streets are designed to move people instead of slowing them down. Public spaces are clean, organized, and built with everyday convenience in mind. You spend less time dealing with unnecessary hassles and more time simply living your life. What's impressive isn't any single building or piece of technology, it's how every part of the city works together as one system. You can tell that these places weren't designed around cars or shortcuts, they were designed around people. That's the real difference. Every small decision adds up to a city that feels calmer, smarter, and surprisingly easy to navigate. And once you experience that level of thoughtful planning, it's difficult not to wonder why more cities around the world haven't taken the same approach. 1. Making practicality look good. And that brings us to number 1, the idea that ties everything together. In Japan and South Korea, it's never just about making something useful. It's about making it a pleasure to use. A train station, a convenience store, a public restroom, even the packaging on an everyday product, there's an attention to detail that goes far beyond basic function. Things are designed to work well, but they're also designed to feel good, to look beautiful, and to make everyday life just a little more enjoyable. That's what makes these countries stand out. They understand that great design isn't a luxury reserved for expensive products. It's something everyone should experience. When practicality meets beauty, even the smallest moments feel more thoughtful. And maybe that's the biggest lesson of all. The best innovations aren't always the most complicated. Sometimes they're simply the ones that make ordinary life feel a little better every single day. And there you have it. 15 everyday ideas from Japan and South Korea that prove innovation doesn't always have to be dramatic. Sometimes the smartest solutions are the ones that quietly make life easier, smoother, and a little more enjoyable without demanding attention. From thoughtfully designed homes and world-class public transportation to spotless public spaces and incredibly practical convenience stores, every example reflects a simple philosophy: design for the people who use it every day. That's what makes these places so inspiring. It's not just about advanced technology or modern cities. It's about solving ordinary problems in thoughtful ways. And when millions of small improvements come together, they create a quality of life that's hard to ignore. So, which one surprised you the most? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this countdown, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next one.